Land Mall are seeking. He died following a scuffle with security guards and they filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit alleges the unidentified guards arrested Mckenzie Cochran because of his race. But the Cochran family's attorney, Gerald Thurswell of Southfield, told a reporter the root cause is the actions of the guards and the alleged negligence of the mall ownership and the security firm that employed those guards. Mr. Cochran was 25 years old. He was black, and it appears at least some of the 6 guards involved in the altercation were white. Now, you all may very well remember this unfortunate incident occurred on January 28th, and that case sparked outrage because cell phone video of the incident shows Cochran on the floor of the mall with guards on top of him as he told them that he could not breathe and asked them to call 911. What is it all about? Attorney Gerald Thurswell represents that family. He's been honored as one of the best lawyers in America, the oldest and most respected peer review publication in the legal profession. Gerald E. Thurswell is a highly regarded expert in medical malpractice, birth injury, and auto accident litigation. And he's joining us here on the Mildred Gaddis Show this afternoon to just talk about what this is all about. Good afternoon, Counselor.
Good afternoon, Mildred. How are you today?
I'm wonderful, and I thank you very well for talking with us here. I have to say, and I hate to give you this question first, but when I saw that there was an $800 million lawsuit, wrongful death lawsuit filed, I began to wonder about the state that we're in, and that is Michigan. There has been some legislative action to sort of cap, if you will, the amount of rewards that victims and their families can receive in the state of Michigan. Is that not correct?
Yes, in many areas, in many areas, that's correct. But not in a case like this, not where there's just pure negligence by one individual harming somebody else. So there is no cap. The reason why we asked for $800 million is people don't react unless they have to pay for their wrongful conduct.
What kind of conversations have occurred thus far? Now, I do understand that when you file lawsuits, there are certain steps you go through within the court, and this has been a very short time here because we're only here today is March 4th. So, what's the status of things at this juncture?
Well, we filed a lawsuit. And, of course, we don't have a trial date, and we haven't done any discovery. But so much discovery has already occurred by the citizens who videotaped what occurred. We know for sure that they brought down Mckenzie to the ground. We know for sure that they had him face down, that one of the security guards had a knee in his back, crushing his chest to the ground so he couldn't breathe. We know for sure that he was pepper sprayed, and pepper spray does several things. One is it inflames your airways, causes your airways to become swollen, making it difficult to breathe. Gets in his eyes, causes him to panic, to get scared because he can't see and he can't breathe. They throw him to the ground. They crush his chest to the ground. He repeatedly says, "I cannot breathe, I cannot breathe." Officers are saying to him, "Stop resisting." He says, "I am not," right on the videos. You can hear the audio from the videos. "I am not resisting. I cannot breathe. Call 911. And then the last plea, the last cry for help was, "I'm dying." And they don't let him up until he stops breathing.
It was a horrific sight to watch. The video, thousands of people in this area and across the country have had the opportunity to at least watch that video once. It is quite disturbing. The owners of the mall are not local people, are they not? I understand they're in New York or somewhere.
Northland Centers is operated by the Ashkenazi Group. And they then hired the IPC, the security guard company, which is a national security guard company. And then the security guards, of course, were the ones who did the wrongful conduct here, who, for all practical purposes, killed him. The problem that we have in Michigan is only one of 7 states that does not require security guards to be trained. There's no requirement to be a security guard. Anybody can be a security guard. You could be a security guard. I could. Put on a uniform and here. You're in a mall and you have pepper spray. And you can bring somebody down just as they did here without any training whatsoever. Anybody who has any training regarding pepper spray knows that people who are pepper sprayed are going to panic. They can't see and they can't breathe. Everybody knows that it affects your ability to breathe. Everybody knows that when you take somebody down, you don't put them on their chest and crush their chest to the ground, making it more difficult to breathe. They should have put him on the side. They should have handcuffed. There were 6 security guards and 1 man. 6 security guards. How long would it take to handcuff him, sit him up so he could breathe, give him some oxygen? They totally disregarded his pleas, his cries for help. He was dying there. We have at least 7.5 minutes of crying out, "I can't breathe." Can you imagine 7.5 minutes, 60 seconds, a minute, just crying out, "I can't breathe," until finally he stops breathing? I can't. It has to be one of the most excruciating ways to die.
This is extremely troubling to a lot of people. And I have to say to you, Attorney Thurswell, after this incident occurred, perhaps maybe 2 weeks later, well, it may have been sooner than 2 weeks, I wanted to go out and, take a look at the area and talk with some people out in the mall, people who work there, to somehow understand and get a feel for what was happening. And a friend of mine accompanied me to the mall. While we were there walking around the mall, we witnessed 2 security guards and a female security guard say to a young man something to the extent of, "You're going to be made an example of too." It was something of that nature. So I was very disturbed by it. And I mentioned it to the security guard, which was totally out. She was totally out of line. And of course, we all knew what she meant when she said that. So I stepped into a store and I shared the story with some friends who own a store out there. And I was very upset. And I said, "This is what the security guard just said to this young man." They were putting him out of the mall. And I hear that he was smoking, and he should not have been smoking in the mall. So the store owners called the security office and had someone come down to talk with my friend and me about what we had just witnessed. Once the young lady realized that I was with the media, she said, "I can't have any more discussion with you." But what occurred to me was that soon after that incident had occurred, that you still had security officers who were acting that way and who were being very offensive. And for her to make that kind of statement was extremely out of order, especially after what had occurred in that mall.
One of the allegations that we put in the complaint was that Northland Centers, who of course owns the mall, that they knew or should have known about the indiscriminate use of pepper spray by the security guards, and that they should have been warning the public that their security guards can spray people indiscriminately without any real justification. Since I filed this lawsuit and since we've been involved, I've received calls from several people indicating that they have been pepper sprayed for really no apparent reason whatsoever. And people are put out of the mall for no reason whatsoever by these same security guards. And it's, I don't know, you give somebody a uniform and the power goes to their head that they can do anything in the world they want because they have a uniform on and that they have a weapon. They have pepper spray. Mckenzie, you know what he had? He had no weapon. All he had was his cell phone in his hand when this occurred. All he had was a cell phone. No weapon whatsoever. Not a threat to anybody in that mall. And they decided to take him down and, for all practical purposes, kill him, hold him down until he stopped breathing with all those cries for help.
Attorney Gerald Thurswell, my guest here on the Mildred Gaddis Show. Our focus is the $800 million lawsuit that has been filed against the Northland Mall owners and the security guards there concerning the death of Mckenzie Cochran. Roland, we're going to take your call first when we come back right here on Newstalk AM 1200, 99.9 FM, WCHB.